Which one's the best crypto asset? Bitcoin's the best crypto asset. Which one's the best crypto asset? Bitcoin's the best crypto asset. Which one's the best? 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 What's the second best?
Welcome in, everybody, to Discover Crypto. I am the Druth from your favorite show, The Blockchain Basement. Here is the takeover of the day. Major gains are on the horizon from the looks of institutional roadways being built into investing into Bitcoin to the tune of $12 trillion. But even with the gains to come, I might find myself in danger in 2026, and I'll tell you why in the show here. And also, we're going to dive into all of the major news coming in for altcoins, and also look at some of the altcoins that are kind of concerning right now, not showing good upside, not showing the love. But speaking of love, here's my man, Kelly Kellum. How the hell are you doing on this fantastic, what is this, Thursday?
I got a big old plate of penne Alfredo in my tummy. We just grinded down some food together with many of us here in the office. But the markets, man, the markets are making me excited. Some people are looking at this near-term sort of shorts going on with a little bit of the drop we've seen right now, but I'm getting more excited the closer we get to the 10th, 6 days from now, next Fed interest rate cut, and also the fact that the Fed's starting to actually do some buys and rolling some things onto the balance sheet. I think we're going to have I'm looking forward to this liquidity explosion that everything is telegraphing. So I'm feeling good. You're looking good. And everybody out there, hit that like button, subscribe button, ding the bell, because we got a show for you today.
That's right, baby. That is right. Ding the bell. And we have a pretty special guest coming up on the show later today. Just in a few minutes, actually. He's one of my favorite people out there doing a technical analysis on Bitcoin. And I'm curious where all the minds are at right now. I know Sack Nasty is in the chat. Oh, you're going to get banned probably today. Good to see you, Sack Nasty, with your purple fruit in the chat there. Make sure to follow me on Twitter. Here's where you can find my crash outs, late night arguments with everyone on the Twitterverse. And also make sure to follow Kelly Kellum. He's at Kelly Kellum. Let's see if I can find you here real quick on the fly. Oh, it's going to send me there. I want to show you guys where to find Kelly, because he's always putting out, I saw you put out a post about the employment outlook for
yeah, I mean, it's scary if you think about it. Over 1 million jobs have been laid off this year. Do you guys realize that? There's been 1 million people laid off this year, worst that we've seen since COVID. But we were talking about this a little bit yesterday. Mm-hmm. If you think about, like, this is just from the World Economic Forum, 15 to 20 million jobs will likely be lost here in the U.S. From AI. Now, that doesn't mean no other jobs are going to, emerge out of that. I think there's going to be a number of jobs in new sectors and other areas, data centers, construction, electrical. There's a lot that's going on right now. But as we highlighted yesterday, how long can the Fed use job numbers as a real parameter in deciding how to control the flow of that fake money that we're all trying to, still bow down to, but not here on Discover Crypto. We're selling this fake money and buying real money. That's why we talk about investing in Bitcoin. We talk, about even long-term Bitcoin IRA, also trading, our link down in the Discord down below, how you can really maximize this time of the biggest evolution of global finance of humankind.
Yeah, it's a huge thing to think about. It's like, why invest? Why risk it for the biscuit? Right? If you could just play it safe, it doesn't seem like there is a way to play it safe in the future, is what that picture is really painting for me, Kelly. We got to act aggressive. We have to find the best projects. Now, we got to take a look at Bitcoin real quick before my buddy comes up here and does some TA for us. But Bitcoin, it's not looking too bad. Something I'm personally watching out for is a vibe check right at the midpoint of this W pattern. It seems to happen every single time we make one of these formations. Right now, things are seeming to want to roll over just a little bit. I did get into a short from our quant, and I'm going to drop into this trade raw and see where it is at. All right, we're doing good. We're up 23% on the short on render. Sad news. I saw the short on render, and it felt weird to short it at the level that it was at, but the quant's been making us money. You know what I mean? So make sure, if you're not already in the Discord, please do click the link down in the description. Sign up with 2bit or Blowfin to get access to these trading calls for absolutely no cost to you. And just print Tether no matter which way this market does go, because it is going all over the place. I got to check out, had some movers here on the watch list. I was seeing Solana DeFi products were waking up on me. Marinade and Camino showing a little bit of upside. Marinade more so. And then Aerodrome Finance. I had one note about Aerodrome that I'd already saved, which was that Solana was coming to Aerodrome, Solana USDC pair. But Kelly, wasn't there something else going on with Aerodrome that you were highlighting this morning?
Aerodrome apparently was listed on Robinhood. I looked at the charts and, checking the daily movers, and I looked at I was like, man, Aerodrome had a little bit of a pop to the upside. And I went and investigated. Yeah, I got listed. It's now available on Robinhood. So that's just another massive outlet there for access.
Yeah, I really think that, Aerodrome, it's been argued against me that Aerodrome's too new of a project to compete with Uniswap. And I've stood on my business for a long time arguing against that. I think Aerodrome is one of the better upside opportunities that we found so far, even though I know I bought it early and I keep buying it every time it goes to 50 cents. It's being integrated across the crypto ecosystem right now. Seeing this integration with Solana just made it that much better for me. So, if you are in Aerodrome, we also have a brother channel that is involved with getting into DeFi, right? So if the bear market does take hold of the crypto sphere, knowing DeFi is going to be one of your best friends. And I know Veteran Crypto, who runs crypto DeFi crypto and airdrops, he's going to have Jeff come up to the cabin. Yeah, Jeff, his name is Jeff. Now, I do implore you guys to give these dudes a follow because they work real hard. They are at DeFi Crypto Airdrop on YouTube. It's about 48,400 subscribers. And him and Jeff are always working. There's me, late night speaking in my wife's sewing shop. I hop on there every now and again and join them on their shows, but they're doing great work. And what you can really gain out of this channel is understanding the mechanics of how DeFi works from a specific, well thought out and well explained manner, because you can get lost in the weeds on DeFi very, very easily. So Jeff and Veteran Crypto do a really, really good job of explaining that in layman's terms for folks. Now, this is kind of exciting for me to see. Retail sentiment is starting to swing back up pretty hard. Each dip into fear, and the zone of fear has perfectly predicted the bounce per sentiment. And this is Sentiment's overview of it, where retail flipping from super fearful to super greedy. On CoinMarketCap, it's painting a slightly different picture, where we're only coming in at like a 27 on the overall fear and greed index.
Well, however, I think the sentiment, the way they're calculating it, is more of a data-driven approach of activity on chain based on different wallet cohorts. And the fear and greed index is, I think, more reminiscent of, looking at a massive collection of social engagement online, as well as some other metrics. So it's interesting to see the dichotomy between the two, because one may be a leading factor of the other.
Yep, absolutely. And I want to check out your chart that you've been showing here just to see where the roadmap's looking at right here. So what do we got here?
We're the fourth. Yeah. So we're still sub 30 on the score. And remember, down here is fear. This is extreme fear. Up here is extreme greed. And we've seen regularly in bull markets, these present when everybody's scared. Even when you're scared, many times, most of the retail is wrong. Obviously here, so many people capitulated. I mean, this was the best time to buy in the market. And then we had that sell-off here, best time. Bottom here, down in the 20s. But this has been beautiful. 24, 15, 10, 26, 23, 20. I mean, we've been in just a perpetual state of fear. And I think let me know your thoughts on this, Drew. And everybody in the audience, let me know in your comments as well. And comment down below if you're watching this later. Do you think that in some ways this can be reflective of us still trying to work through the issues of, is it the 4-year cycle and we have a bear market coming up? Or is this a whole new ball game and we're going to see new highs? So it's almost like people don't know what to do here. Is this kind of what you think we might be seeing?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's kind of twofold, where I'll bring it. I know we got a TA specific section coming up on the show, but I do want to kind of hop into this and just show the weekly kind of market cipher moves here, because I think these matter for where we're at. So you'd see the momentum moves down and then clips a green dot so far 3 times during this entire bull market. The first one was here August, September of 23, and we moved from like 25K up to 75K. It was a great move. The second one clipped here at September of 2024, and we pumped from about 50K up to 109K at the inauguration. And the third one was the trade war tariff crash out, right? This is where the trade war between Trump and China and the lockdown of the Strait of Hormuz, all those things happened. And we dropped very viciously and were able to push this momentum wave back down, but basically created another buoy to the upside. And if you look at the design of this recent crash, it is also 32%, the same as each one of these. And if you zoom in on the market cipher weekly flow, this VWAP is triggering back on up to the upside as the momentum is pushed down to a deeper level than it's been this entire bull market. And if I want to compare this to, is this time exactly the same as 21, 22 when we went into the bear market here? These weekly waves look nothing like what we're currently existing in. This does not mirror our current situation. This situation right here with these weekly waves looks like institutional washing people off of the shelf before the next big move on up. So it's very, very interesting. I do want to, on that note, now that we're doing male astrology, I want to bring up one of my favorite male astrologists, Blockchain Crusader.
What's going on, guys?
I'm just doing well, man. A nice setup. You got the warplanes in the background still.
Wait, are you in Venezuela?
I'm getting ready, bro. Gotta get strapped. I'm pretty close. I'm pretty close to the border.
Well, Crusader, I mean, things are on the edge. There's a lot of, understandably, there's a lot of concern that we're at the end of a cycle, right? And I know that me and Kelly, I think we're in concert on this. We're taking a risk saying that 2026 is actually going to go well. And I've been buying altcoins. I'll tell you guys, I bought a meme coin last night. Okay, I'll tell you what at the end of the show. But Blockchain Crusader, am I in danger? Can you kind of give me the gusto on what you're seeing on the charts there, brother?
On the chart right here. So yeah, basically there's a chance, right? There is a chance that 2026 could be bullish for sure. And before we talk about the bearish stuff, the bullish thing is that we're going to be getting a yearly, a quarterly, and a monthly reset here at the end of December, right? So lots of data is going to be coming into the chart by the end of December on January 1st, which is going to be telling us a lot about what 2026 is going to look like, right? Right now, we have the yearly VWAP and quarterly VWAP sitting around the 103 to 106. And once we lost this area back in November, right, when we finally started closing dailies below that yearly VWAP, that was the big we're in trouble. We got a quick retest at the midpoint of November to get back above it, lost it, and we just nuked the city, right? Straight down to 80,000. So we have also the yearly developing range here for 2025 that's building out. We see it up here. The value area low is sitting around 96.5, right? So that is a very critical area to get back above to start making a run towards higher targets that above that 100K momentum, right? It's psychological, a big number. We are going to get the yearly VWAP and quarterly VWAP reset here at the end of the month, but getting above 96 and staying above there is going to be the first key step to having a bullish momentum in 2026. Once we can stay above 96, that 100K is very critical to start reclaiming and holding above. And if we do that, we could have a very bullish quarter one. There is a potential setup for about a 50% move in quarter one, throughout quarter one in 2026.
50% move?
Yeah, 50% move, dude. Like a push back towards all-time highs.
Oh.
So there is a setup for that. There is a possibility. Now
let's hear it. Finally, someone, like, I've been just arguing with TA people. All right. So give me more of this, because I think we're agreeing here.
That's the big bullish thing is, can we get above the yearly? Right now, we're fighting the yearly open, right? The yearly open's at 93,300. We got rejected yesterday. We got rejected today. We're falling back down to 91, right? We have some targets down here between 89 to 85,000 that we may come back and revisit, We did unfortunately front run our gold pocket, right? Our macro gold pocket down here at 75,000, 74,000, 75,074. We did front run that, which is not great, but it's okay. Meanwhile, we stay above, a previous month low here of 80,500. We should be okay. It's just the concerning part is this 96 to 100K area, right? We have the value area low for the current year building. We have an untapped weekly average up here. We have the previous month EQ up at 95.8. Which is right above the yearly open, which we can't seem to be getting above just yet. We have anchored VWAPs coming in from the previous month high around 95 area as well. So lots of resistance here. We have a local gold pocket at 100.4 from this local top in November to the bottom. So the problem is this 96 to 100, right? That's going to be the beast to fight. If we can get above that, we have a chance for a very bullish 2026. But
we have a very serious question from the chat.
Go ahead.
Are you the power lifter, Anatoly? I mean,
that's my cousin.
Answer me honestly. Just be honest with it here.
That's my cousin. He's just there. I'm the better looking guy out of the two. I don't have to go to the gym as much to look as good.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, this is something to think about here, and we're seeing a lot of pretty bullish backdrop. Like the charts, they're not screaming it's time to roll over and die to me. Like I was just looking at the weekly market cipher. This looks like an on-time 32% washout. Weekly momentum gets pushed all the way near 60 or 70. The VWAP's clipping back up again. And then we have weird, very bullish things. That's really what I was able to title around today. Is a $12 trillion asset manager, Charles Schwab, says that it's going to offer Bitcoin and Ethereum trading in early 2026.
Yeah.
This lines up.
Dude, we got that. We got Vanguard now switching up their stance, allowing their clients to get into Bitcoin as well. So there's a lot of macro bullish things happening. But that's also kind of like the trap that sets us up, right, for getting stuck and having a major reversal to the downside sometimes. So I'm keeping a very close eye on that 96 to 100K. We start living above 100, we have a better chance. But if we start getting rejections, start continuing getting rejected from that area, we could be getting set up for a bull trap, right? Because December, usually everybody's ready for the Santa rally. Everybody's getting excited. The end of the year's coming. But we also have tax season coming up in the first quarter.
Good point.
Right? So we have tax season. People are going to potentially be, selling some profits. A lot of different things can happen that, that 100K is looking like, hey, that could be the big beast.
Yeah. It's so curious what's going on right now. And like on a world stage, we also have Russia's rolling out their second largest bank, VTB. It's going to launch Bitcoin and crypto trading as well in 2026. It's like we have all the bullish fundamentals. I wanted to kind of run this by Kelly. Kelly, do you think, ETFs have seen some love, right? Like even the altcoin ETFs have been seeing some love. Do you think that there is an institutional appetite regardless of our 4-year cycle? Like, do these institutions even care about the old crypto ways and what we're used to here?
Institutions are coming in, looking at entirely different data and utilizing entirely different timelines than I would say 99.9% of everybody that's retail that's in this market. They're not considering a 4-year cycle based on the halving. They're not looking. I would argue many of them probably aren't even super educated on on-chain data, but they're looking at essentially just the inverted relationship between the never-ending money printer in every government worldwide and a fixed cap supply, which is the only asset that's ever had that stance, globally. But when you come to this chart right here, you can see that, okay, it's a bunch of numbers, but what is it? What we're seeing is, look, back here, this is a portfolio allocation. This is what I want to look for. Back here in January 2024, we had about 150, 160 institutions that had allocations to Bitcoin or Bitcoin products like ETFs. And, just in this metric from here to this hasn't even really printed recently, but just this metric here shows that this is, more than a 10x or massive X there, not 10x, but 10x. More than so it's 160 to 1962 so far. And I would argue this is probably 400 or 500 higher now. But then again, you come back over to retail and you remember the washout that happened on Sunday. And people message me, Kelly, why is Bitcoin and crypto crashing again? And I posted on Sunday, Bitcoin and crypto crash Sunday night. I love to see it. Means up later this week. Well, this is that crash. And look at that. We've made a 12% push since that. Because we have Charles Schwab, because we have Vanguard changing their stance, getting Bitcoin, because we have Bank of America with 15,000 plus registered investment advisors that are now going to be pushing and selling Bitcoin, Bitcoin services and products, ETFs, aka, to their massive amount of clientele for 1 to 4% allocations. Because BlackRock, because the list is it's hard to even list them all now because it's in the hundreds, if not thousands, of these major financial institutions. Because of that, this becomes less scary, and you realize this is shaking out people that don't understand that. They're washing this out before the market absolutely runs away because they're still taking advantage of people's fear.
I will say it's been pretty fun watching Kelly light up the trading charts this week. I mean, he's been on an absolute tear. And it wasn't just the quant. I mean, you were going in on your own calls too. Really about liquidity. I mean, I think liquidity plays a lot in the shorter term. Long term, there is no stopping the black hole of interest into Bitcoin, though. That's my answer to that.
But I think specifically Daddy OSC, I think you're referencing how these market cycles have run for 15 years. If you knew nothing, zero about the halving cycle and just looked at the global business cycle and global liquidity cycle, you would have the exact perfect explanation as to why the markets went like that. Now, did the halving cycle, because you're cutting Bitcoin's inflation in half every 4 years, aka driving up the value of every bit of demand for diminished supply, does that have an effect too? Sure, it does, but we've had a 93% reduction in that supply effect from 50 Bitcoin per block, 50 per block every 10 minutes. 50 Bitcoin were created and given out to miners as rewards back in the early days. Now it's 3.125. That's a 93% reduction. So even if the halving had an impact before, which I'm sure it did in some capacity, absolutely. But where we're at now, especially with the biggest banking conglomerates and powerhouses in the history of humankind being involved and governments, getting positioned, BlackRock, I'm sure we're going to cover the story that they're talking about sovereign wealth funds and Bitcoin and crypto here in a bit. I think that the halving is less of a technical issue now that drives price. It's global liquidity.
Yeah, these are valid things, and I see some people bringing up in the chat Cardano, and there's like same thing with like Render. When I got this short call on Render from the quant, I was like, really? It's gonna go lower? Really? Now we're up 56%. I just closed my eyes, follow the quant, and we're making some good money on this. But also Cardano, I haven't had the opportunity to highlight a pump day for Cardano in quite some time. So in between, I've already given I got out of Cardano at $1, and it's a very decentralized proof of stake system, but it doesn't seem to have any fundamentals. And if I'm in an altcoin, I want to make money off of the altcoin. If it's not making me money, then I get out of it, right? And it's protected me from a lot of pain. Do you guys have any thoughts on Cardano? I want to get your guys' take because I have nothing else. I don't have any of the token anymore. I don't see any love. Is there anything that you can?
The problem with Cardano is that nobody's using it, right? They had a big wave when the NFT market was happening back in 2021. They were a good competitor for the NFT space, but man, Cardano's just dried up, right? They're just not doing anything on DeFi. I mean, Charles Hoskins talked about it himself. Like, there's just nobody on the network doing anything. And the best case that Cardano has for a possible pumponomics is what we saw earlier this year, was it being mentioned in the strategic altcoin reserve. If it gets added to that, then we'll see Cardano rip. But that's pretty much all we got riding on Cardano right now, because nobody's on the network. The liquidity is drying up over there. Usage, right? Just no demand for the network overall. But if it gets added to that strategic reserve, then it's going to send it to like at least over $2-3.
Well, in addition to that, Crypto Crow, friend of the channel, but long time, overwhelmingly positive Cardano advocate, even did a post. This must have been 3 weeks ago or a month ago or so, where he's developing a game, a Web3 game, and he was kind of I don't want to say balking, but he kind of made a comment like, as much as he's such an advocate for the Cardano ecosystem, he was a little bit frustrated with the fact that there was no really assistance, help, support, grants, anything to help incentivize him or other builders to do that. Whereas at the same time, he had outreach from Avalanche and Sui and, I can't remember which chains, but other chains that are, helping support building out tertiary infrastructure on top of the chain. So I think Cardano is kind of meeting some of those ends. But I will say on the long-term play, people forget that Cardano has made some pretty massive strides in like the areas of different sections of Africa and other developing nations, which doesn't sound like it would be a big impact. But when you consider that where they're at on a geo-economical stage compared to first world countries or countries like the US that have had infrastructure for, very established technological infrastructure, if you're able to not replace infrastructure and try to get people to change over to this blockchain and Web3 ecosystem, it's actually easier looking long-term in these regions that are developing as fast as they are. Because some of the fastest growing economies in the world are in Africa, and they don't have a huge amount of technical infrastructure. So starting their, real mainstay foundational infrastructure on the blockchain actually speaks to what can happen 7 years, 12 years, 15 years from now. But there's not a single person I know in crypto that's going, I'm waiting on this for 7 years. So I think there's frustration in that disconnect.
Yes, absolutely.
There's a big risk in doing that because realistically, in the future, right, in the near future, if altcoins are not in an ETF, they're probably going to go to zero, right? That altcoin bubble, just like the .com bubble, is going to come at some point, and the only ones that are going to be around are going to be the ones that are in an ETF. So unless Cardano gets added to the strategic reserve or to an ETF sometime soon, it is in danger of going away with the rest of the altcoin market when that bubble pops.
Yeah, I want to spend some time on this and maybe look at the chart too, because I see Crypto Prince. He's got 10K in ADA. I didn't have the greatest move. I made like 10% on the bag and then had to cheat it because I saw I was tapping out right around like $1 or something after Trump. I expected it to pump to $3 after Trump tweeted about it. Yeah. I was like, hell yeah. And I was like, noticing it petered out like $1.30 or something like that. And I just got rid of it. Like, give me, like, if let's say I have $10,000 in Cardano today, what are you telling me to do? Is there an escape pump coming? What does this chart look like? Let me see this.
I'm going to update this chart right here, right now, live, because I haven't looked at it in a bit. Let me see here. What's the...
Well, as you're setting that up, I'll comment on what you just said, Drew. I think we're still at the stage in the crypto ecosystem where, despite all of us, group masturbating about what different technicals and different charts and excitement, I think all of it is still a bit nonsense in terms of the scope of the market. I think there's a lot of stuff I don't even like in the crypto market that I think there's going to be a pretty big broad crypto ecosystem pump if the global liquidity does right. If Bitcoin hits 130 and then goes to 140 and 160, I don't think that's going to happen in a vacuum. I think Ethereum is going to be absolutely breaking out. I think once Ethereum really starts to break out and that liquidity opens up in the ecosystem for alts, especially with the ETFs and indexes and all these things that are getting pushed, I think we are going to see a pretty broad crypto ecosystem move. Cardano included, ICP, which I don't particularly like, included, XRP included. But I do want to say, before you go to the Cardano chart, I just want to make a comment to somebody out there that said ETH is dumping. First off, look at your charts, guys. This is a one-day chart. This is breaking out. If you're looking at this on a daily, this is breaking out of a wedge. Let's go down to 1 minute. Oh my God, guys, it's dumping. Yeah, on the 1 minute, guys, on the 1 minute. But what is it really doing? It's breaking out. And from that area from which it broke out, it's coming down to retest the previous range, this W pattern here. So as it stands, I would call this a breakout in the middle of a retest, not a dump. Now on to Cardano.
Yeah, let's check this out. I want to see this. This is for the sake of people. Like, I see someone has 5K in it originally and he's down 3K. Like, is there an escape?
So the good news is it can't go too much lower. The bottom from back in what is it, 2023, 24 was 27 cents. So we're not too far away from that bottom, which is technically not a terrible entry to get in, right? That's also the bottom where the liquidation event on October 10th was that 27-cent mark. We're going to be getting the reset of the yearly and quarterly here at the end of this month. We have a monthly NPLC up at 64 cents. And then the real thing is getting above this range right here, this developing range for 2025, getting above this 81-cent area is critical. I mean, we've seen ton of resistance here around 94 to $1, just major resistance. This was back in March when it was when Cardano was mentioned in the strategic reserve, had a massive blast off, came right back below $1, got rejected, came down all the way down to 52 cents. Then back later this year in August and in September, we did the same thing. Ran it up to $1, got rejected, came back down, ran it back to 93, got rejected. So that 93 to $1 price point is very critical to get above. Once we do and start holding above that, we have targets between 120 to about 215 realistically that Cardano can hit if we can live above $1 long enough for an altcoin season.
This is stuff worth talking about. You know, it's been around for a long time. People stuck in it. What you got, Kel?
Comment. I feel like Cardano. I think they basically said I think Cardano does this every cycle. People dog them and then it pumps. And I will say this goes back to what I was saying about when the market really starts to open up. I think Cardano is going to pump also. And to your point, A-Flow, Cardano was one of those laggards last cycle where it didn't move at all. It's like it's dead, and then it just absolutely blasted to the upside. So you gotta. This is where it goes back to. We can talk about stuff. Crusader can talk about stuff. Drew, TJ, DZ. We all, even between us, we all have different portfolios. Between Josh, Drew, myself, DZ, Tim, Crusader, we all have different portfolios because we have different interests. We have different reasons why. Sometimes it's even a nonsense reason. Maybe I like the founder. Maybe I like the logo. There's a lot of different reasons why people get in and hold on to stuff. Maybe you're underwater, but this is the time right now. It's December 4th. We got Pearl Harbor Day coming up, December 7th. We had Thanksgiving a week ago. We have Christmas coming up, but also the end of the year. Also this spot in the cycle where we're seeing extreme fear. Sometimes you got to learn when to cut your losses, or if it's stressing you out so much, that's a loss. Figure out, is it Cardano to AVAX? Is it Cardano to Sol? Is it Sol to Cardano? You need to make that decision for yourself, but do some diligence on it and be comfortable with what you're having. Otherwise, these market chop scenarios are just going to exhaust you.
Right. It's just a season for me to analyze what's not moving, because there are some things that are feeling really good, like Aerodrome's doing great. Morpho's holding steady. Chainlink's doing great. And this is being talked about from Tom Lee, saying that Bitcoin adoption could rise by 200-fold if global retirement savers allocate modestly to crypto and Bitcoin. Scott Bessent out here talking about a great 2026. And there's pretty much a shoo-in for Kevin Hassett to come in as the Fed chair. Kevin Hassett was a advisor for Coinbase, and now it looks like he's actually going to be taking that position. I covered on the morning basement stream the design of what Secretary Scott Bessent is setting up, along with Trump, and how much power this guy's actually going to have going into the next year. And Scott Bessent has all of the keys to that engine to turn macro liquidity back on in a big, big way. And that business cycle that we've been looking at actually is going to be in his hands as we move forward.
Bro,
so these are things to think about.
Put it this way. We're at a stage in the crypto ecosystem evolution where it sits on the world stage that we actually have the freaking IMF bull posting about crypto assets. In this case, it's specifically talking about stable coins, but the International Monetary Fund, this is a real account, the one with over 2.3 million followers, they're talking about the benefits of stablecoins. So on the one hand, this doesn't affect my bags. Well, remember, what are almost all stablecoins made on? Wait, my apologies. Every stablecoin. It's on top of some blockchain infrastructure, whether that's Avalanche, Solana, Ethereum, Polygon, AVAX, name your layer one blockchain. Stablecoins are going to have a passive beneficiary means and how they impact crypto adoption, the people familiarizing themselves with the ecosystem, even if it's through something as stupid as a stablecoin.
Yep. That plays into what Vicent's got cooking too. I mean, it's not being discussed enough, but the design of this Genius Act is to force stable coins to have 100% of their backing of what backs up the stable coin in US treasuries. This is a marriage between government money and the crypto industry via stablecoin infrastructure. So this stuff matters quite a bit. And you know, it's hard to look away from 2026 and just batten down the hatches, think that it's going to be bad. I think I'm going to have a pretty damn good year in 2026. I'm positioned well, but I'm also in extreme danger, and here's why. I told you guys I was going to talk about this. Amazon is going to roll out 30-minute delivery options, and I am cooked. Okay. I have saved thousands of dollars on delivery fees from Amazon this year. I have saved thousands on the delivery fee. It is a thing that I have to keep up with. I have a lot of kids. Thank God I already handled Christmas. Have you already handled Christmas in the chat? Have you guys already handled your Christmas presents?
I'm not handling it until we get Amazon Prime now, bro. We need it now. The second I press the button, it needs to materialize in my hand.
God. Oh my God. Yeah, Crusader, did you do your Christmas shopping yet?
Yeah, dude. Yeah, for sure. I mean, with kids and wife and all that stuff, got to get it early, especially on the Black Friday, bro. You got to use that Black Friday deals to start shopping, bro, instead of waiting for late December.
I went a little ham. I'm upgraded to the 10 milli, Craig. Yes, it's a G19. I'm upgrading to the G20, though. I'm upgrading to the G20, Crusader. You know what that. Now, crypto ETFs are starting to wake up, too. We got to talk about this because we talked about crypto ETFs and the need for these altcoins to be involved with them. The crypto funds recorded a $1.1 billion inflow last week, the largest in 7 weeks, and it marks a reversal from 4 consecutive weekly withdrawals totaling $4.7 billion. The U.S. led with $994 million in inflows. Canada came in second with $98 million, and Switzerland with $24 million, and Germany saw $57 million in outflows. Bitcoin led this, followed by Ethereum. And at the same time, investors pull out $1.9 billion from short Bitcoin ETPs. So a lot of the people that were trying to giga short Bitcoin into next year, starting to get a little butt puckered, starting to get a little bit worried about holding those positions open, right? What do you think about this? Like, is there Crusader? Go ahead, because I want your opinion.
Has to do with the Japanese carry trade, right? We saw the Japanese bond market collapsing, and meanwhile, that's not a good thing, right? Because Japan is one of the biggest lenders of money. Normally, that's not a good thing for global markets. They're going to start withdrawing money and not making foreign investments until they can figure out their situation. But it also highlights the problem with fiat. It highlights the problem in the traditional markets. And if people that are investing in traditional markets are looking at these Bitcoin ETFs saying, here's a potential escape, here's a potential solution to the problem that fiat provides, right? And they've already talked about creating Bitcoin bonds, and that could be potentially another thing that, launches Bitcoin further into, that 200K plus target everybody talks about. But I think that's what it has to do with the inflows into the ETFs. They're seeing the Japanese, crash their market. It's only a matter of time before other fiat currencies continue to crash and their markets have problems. And the only solution to fiat is Bitcoin. And I think these ETFs, the more ETFs we get out there, even with some altcoins, that allows people to speculate a little bit more, put a little bit more risk on their portfolio. Bank of America, right, recommending 4% allocation on Bitcoin now. So I think that has a lot to do with those inflows for Bitcoin.
Now, there's been some worries about the risks of leveraged crypto ETFs. Crypto and stock ETFs are actually calling into question from the SEC right now. They sent out a warning letter citing violations for Rule 18F4, which caps fund exposure to 200% of their value at risk. Volatility Shares filed the most aggressive proposals, seeking approval for the 5x leveraged ETFs tied to Bitcoin, Ethereum, Tesla, and NVIDIA. These products would amplify a 10% daily move to a 50% gain or loss for investors. In simple terms, for everyone that doesn't do leverage, the company submitted 27 different ETF applications in total, including products covering Solana, XRP, and Strategy. So they're trying to leverage Strategy. Wild move. A little concerning, but it is the way that the monetary system has been running for some time. On XRP, I haven't
But
looked at
hey,
the
hey,
chart.
Drew. I
Yeah.
thought leverage was something that just came and margin was something that came around with Bitcoin and crypto.
See, that's
Oh
the
wait,
craziest.
oh
Yeah.
wait, Black Friday, real Black Friday, whatever 1929. Do you all realize 1929? And even before that, the market crashed and we went into the Great Depression because everybody was trading on margin. Has
Yeah.
nothing to do with your altcoin or a DEX or something. No, margin has been around for the last 150 years or more, and people have been trading on that, trading money that they basically falsely inflating because they don't have the real collateral to do it. So you're giving a lot more people access. Now, is it a good thing? Is it a bad thing? That's a whole different morality debate, but this is nothing new. Everything is just getting a lot more exaggerated because people, one, we have social media and everybody's comparing themselves to everybody else, but also people realize they got to jump in, and everybody thinks they need to catch up with everybody else. No, you don't. Trade what's right for you, but then also do it smart. But we have the best example of financial management in the history of the world with U.S. government because they budget themselves so perfectly. So how else are you going to expect your populace to handle money when you handle it like absolute dog shit?
Yeah. And you're going to be covering a lot of this macro overscope tonight with a great crew, Kelly. This is your space with Chris Klein from Bitcoin IRA. And if you have an interest in long-term vision of Bitcoin and you want to get involved with Bitcoin in a Roth IRA or a basic IRA, Chris and Bitcoin IRA are absolutely the way to go. You got a stacked lineup here, Kelly. Who you got coming on tonight?
Got Sminston with. He's a great on-chain guy. Really great. I have some other special guests that are going to be popping in too that I don't have listed here. Chris Terry, who's great understanding markets. Sammy Loyal, he's been around. This is Four Flies. If you ever follow him on YouTube, great technical trader. Jenna X is coming on. And of course, we don't talk Bitcoin IRA the entire time. They're the sponsor partners here of the channel, and they sponsor these spaces so that we can do them. So, we might do a minute or so worth of talk about Bitcoin IRA, but Chris is an absolute wealth of knowledge. Think about this. They launched Bitcoin IRA in 2015 before anybody had even considered something like this. So he's got a really deep understanding, not only of crypto, but broader markets and where this is all going. I know, of course, we got some special guests, but we're going to be talking about global liquidity, the slingshot that's loading up. Something very important everybody needs to pay attention to, your own end-of-year checklist with what you're doing with your crypto portfolio and what you need to do to prepare for 2026. So yeah, tune into that. That's the link is on my page. It's also on Discover Crypto, but you'll be able to catch that if you follow Discover Crypto _ or my page right here at Kelly Kellum.
Well, Daddy in the chat is pretty excited that Jenna's coming on. And I know the last time I saw something from Jenna, she was fighting. And the gal that she fought is actually...
You want to know the last time I saw her in person?
When's that?
I was DJing in Singapore at the CoinW after party for Token 2049. They had me DJ because, I used to tour as a DJ.
Yeah.
And first off, most people don't know that. So they're like, Kelly Kellum is up there and I'm just crushing it. And all of a sudden, this super beautiful girl gets in the booth and is dancing with me. I look over, I'm like, oh, that's Jenna X. She had just fought in Singapore for the fight night there.
And that was when she won.
She was hanging out in the booth while I was DJing at that event.
Yeah, I think she had just won right after that. And then Blonde Broker did take her out. And so Blonde Broker's moved on. So now the next crypto fight week, I find a lot of enjoyment out of these crypto fight weeks. Who do you guys think is going to win? Is it Blonde Broker or Jana Crypto Queen? This is Jana right here. And she's facing off with the Blonde Broker. The Blonde Broker surprised me in the last fight. Let me know in the comments who thinks going to win. I'm going to watch it. It's going to be great. Now we got to talk about some of our bags. Aerodrome added Solana. But also the Robinhood move. I do want to go check out the Arrow price because things have been pulling back, and I want to go FUD my own bags here. So let's go into my watch list. So we're still up above 70 cents for the time being. I'm starting to see these staking mechanisms on Solana, Camino, and Marinade wake up a little bit for me. The one that aggravates me the most out of this bag is Constellation DAG. I'm below my entry point. I bought it at 2 cents. It's at 1.3 cents. Very sad. Not happy about that, but I risked about 1% of my portfolio in going after this. And I did. Okay, now I got to talk about what I bought. And there's a very specific reason why I bought this. So I bought Jesus Coin. Okay. I think Jesus Coin.
Gotta be bullish on Jesus, bro.
I'm bullish on Jesus, and I think it's found a floor. I think it's found a floor. And so I bought some, sue me. And it's getting near Christmas, right? So they have a lot of token burning going on around the Christmas time frame. I don't know if they're going to plan on doing it yet, but this thing looks like you have basically come down to the hardcore believers on it. So I did buy this floor. There you go. And it's a tiny percent of my portfolio, but I'm risking it for the biscuit. And I've honestly had a lot of fun with some meme coins. I made like a 300% gain on the weekend that everything was crashing. We got a oh, that's great! Shout out to that. Oh, now Polymarket might actually be coming to the U.S. Did you guys see this?
Yeah, man.
They're launching an app. They have an app in beta mode right now.
Yep.
Yeah, it's a U.S. app now being rolled out.
And MetaMask just integrated them too.
What's that?
MetaMask just integrated them. You can actually use Polymarket through MetaMask right now.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. I was checking out MetaMask or Polymarket rather, and I want to check out this Venezuela move. Okay, I want to see because I'm betting against the Venezuela invasion, and I just want to go check out what the odds are looking like. U.S. Venezuela engagement. And Crusader, you're a great one to ask this. Is there any chance in hell that Venezuela wants this smoke? I mean, just give it to me straight. Because I say no.
There's no way they want the smoke, bro. They know what's gonna drop on them if they just do anything out of line. I do think that's probably gonna go a little hot. I don't think it's gonna go boots on the ground necessarily. Maybe some wild special ops stuff that we'll never hear about. But I think it's probably some strikes, like normal long range stuff, and just to pressure them out of the region. I mean, it's a great move for America, right? Getting all of China and Venezuela is evacuating that Venezuela and leaving that the Western Hemisphere, which is a great power move for the U.S. So I say go for it.
I don't think that I can't imagine they want it in any respect. I mean, just look at the numbers here. The difference in equipment, the difference in money, the difference in personnel, troops. I mean, it's so overwhelming. They could use the JV squad, national reserves that only do weekend warriors. Like 3% of them go over. And I'm not hating on Venezuela as a nation. I love the Venezuelan people and I love the country. But when we talk about many of the wars that are going on right now, I think this is important for everybody. Whether we're talking about the country that is real over there, when we're talking about things that are in the East that are middle, when we talk about things in Europe, when we talk about the U.S., when we talk about Venezuela, any of these things, when there are wars and conflicts going on, 98% of the time, the people in those regions want nothing to do with the nonsense that the government officials are getting themselves involved in. So the people of many of these places are fantastic. And then you talk about the governments that make you look like a complete jackass. We need to be more loving to people, because whether you like Obama or you like Trump, because Obama was in office, does that mean that you agree with everything that Obama did? Or because Trump is in office, that means you agree? No, we need to be a little bit more resiliently thoughtful to the people of nations and be more critical of governments.
Yeah, acknowledge the nuance. There is nuance there. I want to get back to crypto there real quick because there is some stuff we got to cover.
Oh, wait a minute. Boogaloo Boom says, Boogaloo Bum said they don't want to give up election interference evidence. Well, that's kind of right in line with the U.S. So that seems like we got something in common.
True. So Solana is rolling out Revolut Bank now supporting Solana payments. This is kind of a big deal.
How big is Revolut?
Let's look it up. Let's look it up. How big is Revolut Bank in terms of the rest of the market? So let's type it in. How big?
It is definitely good for Solana in the simple fact that they're just all of 2024 was all Solana meme coins, and now Solana's actually getting some partnerships, getting some stuff. They're also doing the Solana's also doing the tokenized stocks, the X stocks or something like that they were doing as well. Like that's pushing Solana to become a more utility coin than just a meme coin blockchain.
Yeah. Let's see how big this thing is. Because I've heard of it before a couple times. What is this? 38 billion balances? Okay. It's not the smallest bank, but not the biggest bank in the world.
I mean,
Decent
it's
start.
pretty major. I mean, yeah, 38 billion. It's not a regional bank down the street, that's for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. So go Solana. You know, I like it. And then Chainlink also accomplished 1 million link within their reserves. This is nice. I like seeing where's the XRP reserve? Oh, wait, they already have it and they just constantly dump it, right? They started off with 80% of it, and that's how they fund their operations. I saw Pat McCrotch. He's still in the chat because I didn't ban him yet. And he's looking for an escape route on XRP above $3. I want to do this from just a basic TA perspective. And, you know, for me, I feel 26 is good. I feel he's got a chance here. Crusader, have you charted out XRP lately? Like, what are your viewpoints
I can
of
pull up
XRP?
my chart. I can pull up my chart.
Let's see
really
what you
quick.
got here. Because, you know, a lot of people are looking for this escape route. You know, a lot of
Oh,
people
I
are
bet.
a lot of people bought at, you know, $253. Oh, God. Okay, what do we got here, brother?
Yeah, so XRP has been a pretty steep downtrend since July, right? So it topped out at 366 when it got all that news about the lawsuit coming to an end. Big move to the upside, very drastic in July, and then massive downflow, right? Just lower highs, even though Bitcoin and other altcoins, altcoins weren't making all-time highs, but they were pushing up with Bitcoin. XRP was not. XRP was on the way down, right? We had the major liquidation on October 10th, just straight down. The only thing saving XRP has been this green zone of support between $2.10 to about $1.97 that it's been holding since the elections of 2024 in December, right? That we've been holding that level ever since we reclaimed it. We've definitely wicked through it a few times, but we haven't really closed any major time frames, weeklies or monthlies below it. So that's the saving grace for anybody that's holding XRP right now. Targets to the downside if we lose this support zone are between 177 to down to 113.
Are you a buyer if it goes down to that level, Crusader? Like, what's your viewpoint?
I would take longs on XRP. I'm not a holder of XRP in spot.
Okay.
I don't like XRP because of all the XRP cult-like mentality and what they do. But, you know, to get above that 366, that $3, that's going to be a big target. We need to start making a big move above 258, breaking this downward structure that we have. 258 to 285 would be the big key levels that you want to look for XRP to start breaking this downward structure. Unless this structure breaks, it's just slow grinding to the downside until we have, you know, some kind of altcoin season that might save it. And maybe it gets listed in the altcoin strategic reserve. If that ever happens, right? That would be the only thing that could save XRP. But
You are banned!
All right, there we go. I had to take care of something here.
I just wanted to share something too, just as a reminder. It's been a couple weeks since I shared this chart. Link has been a total disappointment. Somebody wrote in the comments, and I get it. A lot of coins have been a total disappointment because this is this cycle. We've seen the run up that failed, the run up that failed, and then the washout. Well, we've been here before. Look, this is exactly what we saw in 2019, preceding the 2020 pump. We had a run up, the P, the drop, the U, the M, the P. We had the pump set up. Similarly, the question is going to be, does this play out similarly? And if it does, then the question is going to be, you know, which one of these do we get? Do we get the green? Do we get this all the way up here? I think that's unlikely. Do we get the yellow? That could be likely, but somewhere between these two is kind of how I still think it's going to happen. The point here is I think a lot of things have been disappointing because people keep expecting it to have happened, and yet everything is stretched out. Now we're dealing with the fears of the 4-year cycle. But if you look at this red box is where we had the COVID shutdown, boom, boom. Well, I drew this red box way before the price action even got here. And technically speaking, I mean, we're still at this point right here. We're still right in this sort of zone of the market of what we saw last cycle. So there's still time to play out. that we very well could get this. I do not think we're getting this, which a lot of people think it's over for alts. It's never going to happen. I do not think this is going to happen. I think at worst, I think we'll get something like this, right? Which would still be a slow melt to the upside, but somewhere in this range here, I think is where we're going to be.
Yeah. This is why it's important to, because there is a potential that we don't see a liquidity injection. And it's basically a conversation of either we're going into the Great Depression 2.0, which reasonably we should be, or we're going into the Great Inflation where they print their way out of it once again. Assets become more expensive and the middle class basically goes extinct, right? So it's kind of an either or option, and either option isn't great for the middle class that isn't investing, that's just basically thinking about how am I going to survive this week. They're not thinking long term. They're not investing in AI, nuclear energy, crypto, nothing. They just want to survive. And this is where we have to really, really take this into account. You can't liquidate Jesus. He'll just walk on top of it. Shout out to that. Nick Dunn. Shout out to that. Yeah, I mean, I've been struggling with that Jesus token for years now. And really, me ignoring the token because I was like, this is blasphemy. It's on chain Jesus. But then I see the community is like actually like Christians that are just like, we believe in this. And who else is left on that chart is the hardcore believers. So I held it. And did I buy more Linnea? I'll go check out Linnea because I was looking at the chart earlier today, and there is some points that I would add to Linnea. Have you heard of Linnea yet, Crusader?
Yeah, I don't have a chart on it though.
I'll pull it up here. It's not a problem. So, because it's been a rough ride to the downside for sure. But it's got some interesting things.
Layer 2 problem, man.
It is a layer 2. It's a consensus backed layer 2, and this is the only other thing besides Chainlink that's actually working with Swift. So what I did is I went after it with like 1% of my portfolio, and I bought some around the 1-2 level. So right about here in this little swoopy doodad, and it swooped back down to even lower levels. I think that these liquidation wicks represent kind of like the lowest mark that these altcoins will go. So that's kind of my opinion of it. If I do get an opportunity to see this thing go near this bottom of this wick, essentially around 0.0072, I do intend to add to the position to DCA lower, because that'll basically be half off of where I bought it initially, and that'll lower my average entry pretty well if I can get that opportunity. So that's one coin that I'm watching in case it does go to that level and give me another additional entry point on. And then Canton, it's the same thing for Canton, 1%. Not overexposing myself. If it goes to 0, I'm not crying. I made this clear when I bought it. I don't want people jeeting their whole or buying in with their whole life savings on these things, because these are high risk, high reward potentials. We have to frame it that way so people understand that. Canton is something that Microsoft and IBM are doing asset transfers on. They don't care about retail. They don't care about anything. It actually looks kind of strong here. But these are two of them that I most recently added, other than, some meme coin chaos. But it is a good day. I'm feeling good. There's so much worry out there. And I constantly remind people of this, but there might be new viewers coming to this. Crypto is extremely volatile, and you will be in pain for a vast majority of your time in crypto if you are top blasting charts. If you are chasing green candles, you will live in pain for a vast majority of your time here in crypto. And when you're finally experiencing that upswing, you're going to say, oh, now it's going to $1 trillion market cap. I'm not selling yet. And then it'll crash back down to the levels below. So you have to understand this. You have to embrace this to really succeed. Don't top blast charts. People like your background. People like your background, brother. Absolutely. Well, it was an incredible show. I appreciate you, Crusader, for coming on. Kelly, for coming on and co-hosting with me here. Crusader, where can people follow and keep up with you? Like, when are you going live? How can they keep up with you, brother?
Yeah. So Blockchain Crusader, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, Blockchain Crusader all around. Twitter is or X, I should say, is B Chain Crusader, is unfortunately. it's too long of a name anywhere else. But yeah, I don't have a scheduled live stream, anything like that. Right now, I'm starting to work on a more scheduled live stream, probably starting next week or so. It's just been wild with the holidays and just family stuff. So I've just been backing up from live streaming and just producing content instead. But yeah, man, just Blockchain Crusader on any of the platforms. That's where they can find me.
Love it. Love it. Love it. Kelly, what are your final thoughts as we head into this? I mean, we're almost through the week. It's been kind of choppy. What's the vibe here, man?
I think we're almost done with this stage of the market, guys. I think we're almost done with the dip, but the dip of the dippity dip of the dip of the brick. I think we're talking about that. We're going to be talking about the liquidity, the great liquidity explosion in the spaces tonight, 5:30 p.m. Eastern time. You can follow me at Kelly Kellum to tune in, or at Discover Crypto _. We will be live. We've got a great host of people breaking down what's going on into the end of this year and what we can expect in 2026. So make sure to tune in there. I think the fake out is well established, and I think I'm still very convinced that we're in a massive bear trap before the market moves to the upside. But you got to trade smart. You got to make sure you're not allocating your rent that you need in 4 days to the market because a YouTuber said the market's going to go up. I'm talking about the market going up over the next 3 or 4 or 5 months. There's going to be some chop along the way, but I do think we've had a lot of red. We've had a lot of red this fall. And in order to make it a good Christmas, we got Drew with the green backdrop, and we need the green in the charts because Christmas is red and green, baby. So I think we're about to get that perfect marriage there. Not between Drew and I. Talking about the red and the green, baby. So make sure you're stacking smart. Crusader, thank you for being on with us. And everybody that's tuned in, we appreciate you more than you even realize. Everybody that's live chatting every day, we see your names. We know who you are. We appreciate you showing up. So hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. Ding the bell. We will see you in the next video.
That's right. Jay Davis, I see you.
You are banned!